Here I go again, playing with fire. This is nothing other than just some shells that I picked up randomly on the beach. The only thing I've done to them is wash off the sand. Heavens to Murgatroyd. They appear to be back with the exploding balls. Okay, we're just going to let that burn. So if I did this right, then what I have here is quicklime or calcium oxide. Shells are primarily calcium carbonate. The idea is to get them really hot to break the calcium carbonate down to calcium oxide. Looks like my yield's not going to be that high. This stuff is pretty damn fragile. I don't know how to tell when something's made it and something hasn't. I guess it's just a matter of trying it out. Quicklime has a couple of interesting properties which, if I have it, we will investigate shortly. And you know what? If we have quicklime, I'm going to make some more because I have needs for quicklime. I know you haven't heard that very often, but I do. So if this stuff is actually calcium oxide, there's a pretty easy test for that because calcium oxide reacts very violently with water. So all I've got to do is take a little bit of this and dunk it in water, and if this is calcium oxide, we'll know quickly. Okay, it's not. Okay, we're going to call that a fail. Back to the drawing board. Well, here's attempt number 2 for producing calcium oxide from shells. And this is hotter and maybe longer, and I'll be using these oyster shells because they seem to be have less of a tendency to come to pieces in the flame. Plus they're hefty. They've got a lot of weight to them, so hopefully they'll produce a lot of calcium. If this works, I will call into action my big can back at the ranch. I'm going to give this an hour by the clock, or when I run out of charcoal, whichever happens first. Been burning for a half hour. Just wanted to show you I'm pretty hot. The kind of orangish color of that flame, I could be talking myself into it, but it seems like there's more orange than usual. Turns out that calcium in a flame has kind of a dark orange color, so that might be calcium in that flame. Let's take some of this stuff out of here. This thing is still hot. But I can recover a little bit. Oh, that's a nice one. The real question is it calcium oxide or not? I'm going to go with not because they're supposed to be bright white, and these are not. Well, let's go give it a try. If this didn't work, then I'm going to have to move on to the big can because I'm going to need more than I can do with the little can. That means taking all this stuff home because I don't have the big can with me. The big can does not travel. Okay, so we'll drop a little of this in there and see what it does. This is the end result of my attempt to make calcium oxide or quicklime. Honestly, I actually did manage to make some quicklime because some of it did react with water to make this paste, which is hydrated lime, which is calcium hydroxide. It's nowhere near perfect. There's lots and lots of unreacted lime in there, but it did make at least some, which gives me the impetus to go ahead and try this with using the big can and see if the big can can do a better job than the little can could. I actually have a reason for this, which I will explain at some point, but not now. I should point out, just for interest's sake, that this stuff is highly, highly basic, and I can actually feel it kind of saponifying the tips of my fingers. It's not massively dangerous, but it's kind of mildly dangerous, and tastes bad. Well, all hail the mighty power of the big can. Let's see if we can finally turn some shells into lime. My technique is essentially going to be to just bury this thing in heat and let it cook for quite a while. Graphite disc as a cover. Cook along pretty good now. I think just for a lark, we'll go ahead and put these in as a separate trial just for fun. I mean, they are calcium carbonate. If we can make shell lime, we could probably make egg lime. Why not give it a try? I went out and invested in a better thermometer because my 600C thermometer just didn't go high enough. This one goes to 1150 C, that's a little about 2100 degrees F, and I have exceeded the capability of my thermometer. I think I can find one that'll go up to 2000 C. I may have to go for that one, because that's 1152, and if I point it a little over to the right, it's higher. Well, all hail the mighty power of the big can. Ah, doggone it, I melted that brick onto the bottom of the crucible again. (1008 degrees). It's a nice looking object with the brick melted onto the bottom of it. There's my hopefully calcinated shells. There are my presumably calcinated eggshells. And so, round two. I'm going to land these on a brick. I'm getting tired of having my bricks melt onto the bottom of my crucible. Plus, kind of a waste of a good brick. Let's see if we can slake these eggshells while we are waiting for the other shells to finish cooking. So remember, this should be calcium oxide, so it should be pretty hygroscopic, and when I put water in there, it will combine with that water to form calcium hydroxide. It'll take a minute. See that? So it's quite exothermic. That's exactly what it's supposed to do. It can even cause the water to boil, so clearly I've got calcium oxide in there. The only real question I have is whether or not I've managed to convert all of the eggs, but this is a very encouraging reaction. So the shells will steam, and then they will expand, and then they will gradually fall apart. That's what the slaking seems to do. Here are my eggshells after about 4 or 5 minutes. The reaction's not immediate, as you can see, but we pretty much have reduced that to slaked lime at this point. So I would say these were exposed for half the time the seashells were exposed. Of course, they're much lighter. So I have hopes for the seashells. We'll see shortly. The seashells are right there at the base of the big can. I'm still not willing to pick them up because that brick got really hot. It's got a lot of mass, so I'm waiting. Let's look at a couple of these calcinated shells. Still has the shell characteristics. Very light and fluffy. When you break it, it's white all the way through, which is what it says it should look like on YouTube. That's a nice one. Very light and fluffy. No dark lines in the middle. So let's try adding water. Should do exactly what the eggshells did, but it'll probably take a little bit longer. It's been my experience that these things don't combine with water immediately. They take a second. As you can see, they're extremely dehydrated. They picked up that water immediately. So there they go, swelling away. Just let's watch for a bit. Well, actually, I'm going to call this one a wrap. I'm getting into production mode with this lime now, so I'm just going to go ahead and make a whole bunch more of it. I actually have a reason for that, which I will show you probably in the next video. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and pour this out. This process is really hard on my crucibles. And if I'm going to make a whole bunch more lime, I'm going to have to come up with a non-crucible mechanism because I'm eating up $20 crucibles at a fairly rapid rate. Not to mention what I'm doing to bricks. I might have to keep this one as a trophy because that's literally welded on. It's going nowhere. So anyway, let's call this one an episode. Thanks very much for watching. Please feel free to like and subscribe if you want. You can hear that reaction. Or don't, if you don't want, that's fine too. Tell your friends if you want, or again, don't if you don't want, that's fine too. Thank you very much for watching and have a great day.